Welcome to episode number 374 of the Genuine ScLoHo Media and Marketing Podcast. My name is Scott Howard, also known as ScLoHo. This is an ongoing collection of media, marketing, and personal insights with a fresh update nearly every week since 2017. This is the audio reading of an article that you can find and read at my website, scotthoward.me. Altogether, I published over 1,600 articles, and this one is titled, Create a Personal Brand Preference with Radio. Even though I'm recording this at the Federated Media Studios in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I work for ScLoHo Radio, and this is being promoted by my employer, everything that I say or write is strictly my own thoughts and not necessarily the opinions of Federated Media or any of their affiliations and or advertisers. So, one of the questions I sometimes get when people learn that I work for a radio station is, do people still listen to the radio? And those are honest, sincere people, not being sarcastic. I can honestly tell them and tell you, yes. The day this article and podcast goes live, March 31st, 2025, is the official 100th birthday of my main radio station, WOWO, which officially launched as an AM radio station in Fort Wayne, Indiana in 1925. WOWO still has a home on AM at 1190, along with 92.3 FM, 107.5 FM, which is a low-power FM signal, along with an HD option at 97.3 HD2. WOWO is one of over 20 local radio stations in Fort Wayne. Besides listening to WOWO and our other stations in a traditional radio frequency, nearly all traditional AM and FM stations can also be listened to online. There are apps that you can download, station websites that you can listen to, or do what my wife and I do at home and listen over smart speakers. In our family room and kitchen, we have Alexa. In my home office, I've got Google smart speaker system that I use. Every vehicle that I'm aware of has access to FM radio, and most also still have access to AM too. The one challenge is finding a traditional portable radio, but I've bought one from Amazon, and my wife has a couple of them too. Trying to find one at a big box store like Walmart, that's really challenging, but they still sell them at Best Buy. Radio stations are still around, but does anyone listen anymore? Well, for this question, I dug into my Nielsen data that I have access to, and here's some numbers. In Metro Fort Wayne, there are 438,000 adults ages 18 and older. Over 304,000 people listen to radio weekly. That's about 70%. I narrow the demographics to the youngest age group, ages 18 to 34, and 53% of them listen here in Fort Wayne. However, 76% of adults 35 and older listen to radio in Fort Wayne. That 35-year-old threshold is what I call the beginning of being a grown-up. Between 18 and our mid-30s, we're still transitioning from college and party life, looking for fun and adventure, and we're just getting started earning some serious money in our late 30s and 40s. We start making grown-up decisions and having busy family lives after we've reached our mid-30s and later. Those people are still the primary radio listeners, and quite frankly, I'm not sure what the future will be in, say, 15 or 20 years. Will those younger people turn to traditional radio? We'll have to wait and see, as I've been doing for quite a long time. See, the demise of radio was predicted 25 years ago, and yet it's still here and a viable place to advertise and build brand awareness for your company. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Westwood One published a story titled, The Business Case for AM/FM Radio Advertising. Be known before you're needed. If you go to my website and find this article, you can click on the website or click on the headline link that I've put in the published version of this article and read the whole article. However, here are the highlights. Media plans with AM and FM radio have a plus 28% greater market share than brands that do not use AM, FM radio. And advertisers using AM, FM radio have a plus 42% greater profit than brands that do not use AM, FM radio. But radio works best for long-term return on investment. The article includes a story. It says how advertising really works. Steve's Pest Control in Columbia, Missouri used AM, FM radio to build a huge business. A little over 1,000 miles to the west of New York City lies Columbia, Missouri, home of Steve's Pest Control. Missouri's #1 choice for pest control is their slogan. Steve's Pest Control knows what Madison Avenue has forgotten. To generate substantial sales and profit, a business needs to create future demand rather than just obsess over short-term metrics and only focus on converting existing demand. Steve Hotzenpiller and his wife Anita started their business over 3 decades ago with one truck. They bought ads on a small radio station back then. Then, each year, they devoted about 8.5% of their revenues to advertising. As they grew, they bought ads on more radio stations, and soon they became one of the largest advertisers on local radio in Columbia, Missouri. Their ads are charming, funny, and entertaining. They usually end with a jingle that exclaims, "Now you've got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest Control." Today, with over 90 trucks, Steve's Pest Control is the undisputed leader in the pest control business. As I review the businesses that I've worked with in the radio business, some are brand new, while others are a few generations strong. If you've never done a radio campaign as part of your business marketing outreach, it's time to start considering it. By the way, do you have any questions about advertising or marketing that you don't know who to ask? You can ask me, Scott Howard. Email me, scott@wowo.com. That's scott@wowo.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.